You want to know what the problem is in Otter Creek? Well, Charlene Meeks, daughter of Russell Meeks, is about to tell you. It's her dad. I think one of the biggest challenges for these individuals that I've met in Florida, they've never met a person in their life that actually says what they mean and means what they say. A person of action, a person that doesn't just talk. Because these individuals have grown up in a culture where you talk behind everybody's back and you don't let the person know that you have a fence against, because who knows what they'll do. In other words, we have a generation of keyboard warriors. You know what I mean by that, right? You hide behind a screen and on a keyboard thinking that nobody's gonna see anything that you type or say. Except this is the world we're talking about, the real world we're talking about. Everyone you think is a friend is throwing you under the bus, just like Russ The Suss did to Mary Mary. Remember? We ain't got no clerk. We ain't got no show. Oh, it's all Mary Mary's fault now, Russ, right?
Ain't no clerk. Ain't no show.
Let's talk about another show, the online show. There are people who say things all the time that probably shouldn't, and we receive hundreds, if not thousands, of screenshots on a daily, weekly, monthly. Geez, I can't even begin to fathom what we receive on a yearly basis. So what I want to do is take one particular post, and I guarantee it, we have so many more on each individual, but one post and show you what's being said, okay? And we're gonna kind of dig into it a little bit, and then we're gonna look into this evidence that's being discussed. Okay, Katie, let's talk about your word game. Number one, you just showed how foolish you completely and totally are. Probably on a level of incompetence as well. Okay, let's break it down a little bit. You don't need to own property to come to a town council meeting. It's open to the public. Everyone in the world can show up, including you. And let's get to a point about squaring up with that bullying YouTuber. I don't know if you saw the last meeting or not, but 99.9% of the residents are not okay with being bullied. And it's not Jeremy Hales who's doing the bullying. It would be Russell Meeks using his authority and thought power over water and over permits to bully the people in submission to his will, his way. I have no desire to be a bully. I have no desire to be a mayor. I do have a desire to stand up for the people that are being abused and that are not being cared for appropriately and that are being stolen from. So you have my ear. Come on down to the next meeting. As a matter of fact, here's the deal. Since you are so eloquent with words and you're just so on point and you can't stand people who are bullying the residents, I'll let you know, I'm going to be there at 6:30 p.m., June 13th. You got my camera. You got me. I'll be right there, ready to record everything that you have to say to me personally, to the residents of Otter Creek, to the world. This is your typical keyboard warrior. Really stand up individual. I'm going to tell them exactly like it is. You know I can take care of this. Except you're hiding behind a screen and thinking I don't see it. I see it. I want to be clear, I don't have to look for it. And those individuals that left comments on your comment aren't the individuals that are sharing it with me. So don't go attacking them because you're now in your limelight that you wanted. It's individuals that aren't okay with people like you saying foolish things out of ignorance and incompetence when you have no grasp of reality of Otter Creek. That was extremely foolish, Matt. I have clearly stated county commissioners have stayed out of this, therefore I was going to leave them out of this. And let's be honest with one another, Matt. You and your constituents, particularly you, have more than enough manure than you can handle right now, don't you? And here you are, Matt, giving me attention. And I never wanted your attention. I never wanted attention for Otter Creek. As a matter of fact, my whole home here, doesn't have any attention. None. Why? Because they leave me alone. They don't steal from me. They don't lie to me. They're not corrupt. It's sad that when I go to my home in Florida, that I have to have a camera on me at all times. It's sad that the residents of Otter Creek, vast majority, the residents of Levy County, vast majority, have to email me screenshot after screenshot after screenshot after screenshot. The 95% of the good people are trying to protect the good things about this place. The 5%, the 5%, oh my goodness. Well, let's look at that 5%. Charlene Meeks. You all are so bold when you think I'm not gonna see this stuff. How about you take a page out of my own book, get a camera, say it clearly so that nothing can be misunderstood, and share what you actually mean. Don't hide behind a computer screen. Don't hide behind, oh, I'm talking to what I think are my friends right now, even though they're gonna throw me under the bus too. Who's the bully in these comments? Gonna go take a charge. May I present to you Exhibit A.
About the yard and how they look.
Right now you might be thinking, Jeremy, we've seen this council meeting before. No, you haven't. You've seen a portion of the council meeting. And I'm about to show you the portion, which is Exhibit A, where Charlene Meeks throws her dad, Russell Meeks, under the bus. You know who she learned how to do this from? Her dad, who threw Mary under the bus.
And you know, even in the middle of town, we're supposed to be owned by the school. The grass looks like heck.
Owned by the church.
The church, the grass looks like it. These places that growed up, they look bad. People come in.
You can't mud mud, huh?
Let's set the stage here. This is 2013. Clea is the mayor. Russell is not, but he sure wants to be. And as such, he's now stating that you can't mow mud. George, have we ever mowed mud?
I don't think so.
Ooh, I don't even think that Florida has mud. George, have you ever seen any mud in Otter Creek?
No, it's pure sand. You can't get
Oh,
mud with sand and water.
I know where the mud is. It's in the Otter Creek water. That's where it is. So Russell, who has, multiple times stated that it's public comments, not public questions, is going to be seen talking to the council throughout this entirety of this meeting from here on out, in which he would start hammering down and saying, "You out of order. Your plumber called me personally." Except when Channel 20 is there and the entire residency of Otter Creek willing to throw him out physically. Like at the last meeting, and probably this upcoming one as well.
And mud the whole time.
But, I mean, the stuff that's growed up to here.
But not just there.
You know, you can understand when it's mowed, when it's like this and it's been wet. But
I
when it's
understand. See
over,
where they tried to mud a little bit right in front of the church? Go take a look at it.
it grows
Yeah, see how
fast
it
when it's
grows up.
hot and wet. But these houses that's around here, like my mom, for instance, my mom and dad's look like crap, okay? My sister and them come down here because somebody said something to them, and Kenny had a friend that said, your daddy's place looked like, so Kenny and them come down here and moved. Kenny made a circle around town. She says, why was everybody bitching about daddies? There's more places worse than daddies. You know?
They're not gonna have no success cleaning up Otter Creek. The people in Otter Creek don't tell me I've got to mow my yard.
Just want to make sure you got that, you understood that. Because here's what's going on. Somebody is wanting to move into the area and looking at the area, but coming into the area and going, oh my goodness, this place is trashed. Absolutely trashed. Why do people do this to something they own? Lack of pride, lack of motivation, lack of... No, here's what Russell says. People here in Otter Creek, they ain't gonna clean up. They ain't gonna take it with, you gonna tell me to clean my yard? You know what? That's what code enforcement is for. Oh, wait, who's code enforcement? It is Town Hall. Who's for code enforcement? We're about to find out. And my suspicion, Charlene. Remember that Dolly Parton song? Jolene, 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 Jolene. I'm changing it. Charlene, 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 Charlene. Don't tell me to clean up my yard just because you can.
Who's doing it?
So what does the ordinance say? Does the ordinance say you have to mow your yard? Okay.
It's not signed.
I'm not sure that.
I'm not sure if that makes a difference,
That
but
you need to check the turn back.
It's ancient.
It's dated 1975, which I'm good with
I
it.
don't see a problem.
You know, taking, like garbage sitting in front of your house, especially when you're coming through town and stuff like that, make Otter Creek look decent again.
But we don't live in Gainesville, Marie. We live in Otter Creek. We gotta know.
We can make it look like games if we want to.
No,
I agree. What do we need to
That
do?
wouldn't be Otter Creek.
it wouldn't be Otter Creek.
You just heard that, right? If it wasn't a mess, it wouldn't be Otter Creek. Okay, Russell. All right, here I have a huge mound right here. This didn't used to be a mound. This actually is part of a mountainside that I live on. And then I paid tens of thousands of dollars for excavation work. And then I just put thousands and thousands of dollars of mulch on it. Why? For my chickens, for my birds. And guess what? It wouldn't be that way unless I invested in it and cleaned it up. And now it's going to be a beautiful bird aviary. I don't want it to look like trash. I want it to look beautiful. I want it to add value. Does it concern anybody that I care more about how my birds live than Russell does the actual residents, human beings, people of Otter Creek? I want people to come over and say, hey, can we go hang out with the peacocks? Hey, can we feed your chickens by hand? Hey, can we do this? Can we do that? Lots of things. Lots of things. Now, there's things that still need to be cleaned up. You can see all of this area out on the side that need to be cleaned up still from all the work that I've done in preparation. And it doesn't happen overnight. It takes time. It absolutely takes time. But this is Hale's Headquarters. I want it to scream out with pride. I'm a beautiful place of respite. I'm a beautiful place to relax. I'm a beautiful place to live. And Otter Creek should be that as well. We picked Otter Creek out of any other place because it's strategically and business-wise placed in between the hub of Orlando, Tampa, Jacksonville, Tallahassee. I can get anywhere I need to go. Anywhere I need to go within 2 hours. It's premier hospitals 45 minutes away, which we need for Georgia's health. Otter Creek can be something. Otter Creek was something. And here's what you hear from all the individuals now in Otter Creek, especially you heard it from Mary, you heard it from Russell. Well, we don't want to be like Bronson. We don't want to be like... But what do? They steal every resolution. They steal every piece of paper. They steal every document from those other places that they claim they don't want to be like. And yet, that's exactly what they're doing, trying to be like them. What's the difference? They want to be a dump. They want to be a garbage dump. And I know this has got to hurt Charlene so bad. Charlene was fighting for the right side. Her father, even back then, was on the wrong side. And who's fighting her father now? We are, with the other residents of Otter Creek. The vast majority of the residents of Otter Creek. That's got to hurt her inside because now she's conflicted. Do I fight for my father, who's wrong? Or do I fight for the vast majority of the residents who want things to be right?
But you can't, just like I said the other time, just like I said before, you can't pick on one or two and not get the whole bunch of them.
exactly. I 100% agree with you, Marie.
And I don't think we're practicing that.
You heard that, right? We can't pick on one or two and not expect the rest to take care of things. We can't isolate an individual. We've got to do the same thing for everybody, right? Well, we're not doing that. Charlene even says, well, I agree. What's happened as we've moved into Otter Creek? We've been isolated. We would have never, ever wanted to show anything that has to do with Otter Creek. I've shown you videos from 3 years ago. So Matt, you might want to shut your mouth. And I mean that so wholeheartedly, because I waited and waited and waited. I didn't want attention for Otter Creek. I wanted them to do the right thing. This isn't what I want to be filming. And what did they do? Put me in a position time and time again, 3 years in the making, time and time again, to where I went, I'm done with it. I'm going to expose their corruption. You even saw in the last town hall meeting, we are not treating individuals. We are not treating them all the same. Some individuals get a past due notice. Some individuals get a crazy amount for their water bill, and then others get the normal amount. We're not treating people equally in Otter Creek at all. At all. And I'm done with it. I'm tired of it. And I'm not moving. I've been very clear. The property that I own, and the funniest thing is they think I'm going to develop it because of my businesses and my names. I've never been a property developer. Ever. Ever. What I am doing is saving that property for a nonprofit that works with kids.
You don't want to talk about
Yeah,
that?
absolutely. I don't think we're practicing that at all.
How can I get 3 agendas?
Sticky fingers.
So where are we with enforcing the ordinance?
No, it's out of date, we're taking nothing.
Can we make a new
Wait a
ordinance?
minute, ordinance don't get out of
I
date.
think
Well,
before
you
you
just
get
said
an ordinance,
yeah,
everybody
because-
on town council.
It ain't signed, is it?
Probably,
Brad, is that ordinance in
I
the
was on
ordinance?
it was
Current
back
ordinance?
in Poppy Hill,
Mr. Attorney,
Monroe.
is that ordinance in the current ordinance?
Mr. Attorney.
Yeah, it's an ordinance,
Yeah,
in the book ordinance, it is. Right here.
well, people forget
Oh,
is,
that's funny.
you know, it costs
Here's what's going on. Russell is claiming the ordinance is out of date because the ordinance was dated in the 70s. Charlene and her friend are laughing and making fun of her dad because he said, Mr. Attorney.
us to take these ordinances in and out. So
It ain't
they're
the
in there.
point.
They're pretty
You
good
know,
in there, right?
here in the summertime, we're so dang dry. And all these houses growed up and all, fire time back. Where did it come from? It ain't my yard. You know? It was bad.
So who enforces these ordinances?
Well, that one, it hasn't come up.
Okay.
Actually,
It come up
as far-
So who's gonna
in the past
enforce it
2
now?
years.
in the past 2 years.
It come up twice in the past 2 years.
What?
You make all the ordinances you want, if you ain't got nobody to enforce it, you just
Enforce it.
wasting your breath.
No, I'm just asking people, could they please clean up Otter Creek a little bit?
You were asking, you was hollering
Well,
about
that's a
That's a good
voluntary
idea.
request.
You've got a good point. You know, what Russell is trying to say right now is you can make as many resolutions as you want, but if you can't enforce it, I ain't gonna do it. That's what he's saying. You can make as many resolutions as you want. So let's break that down a little bit. Town council is responsible for the resolutions, okay? They make the resolutions, then who enforces it? Okay, we're a town of, at that point, under 100. You're just over 100 right now. And there are part-time residents such as myself and George and others. And so you also have to enforce it. The resolution and the enforcement of the resolution, that comes from the town council. Well, to do that, you got to have money. And what do we know about Otter Creek? They don't have money. So how do they get money? Well, let's see. They try and steal it from me, first of all. We have documented that. We have proven that over and over again. That's going to court for that. And how else do they get money? Well, they go for grants, things along those lines. So there is that reality that there's a resolution, there's no enforcement, and therefore, basically what Russell is saying is, I ain't going to do it. You ain't going to make me do it. You can't make me do it. So why does he want to be mayor? And you got Don back there doing the same thing. Why does Don want to be mayor? Well, those are two of the messiest yards in the area. Just dumps. They're dumps. To the point, at this point in time, Russell actually got foreclosed on, which has happened twice. The man can't manage money. Just pure and simple. The man cannot manage money. And I can't fathom or understand why the residents have put him in a situation and a position where he has any opportunity to touch the money of the town. It blows my mind. Nobody with common sense, and I get it, it's not that common in this area, but nobody with common sense puts a man like that in a position with funds. Nobody.
That's different than
Ask people.
You know, if they can come to my mom and dad's house and look at it and say, oh, it looks bad,
Who said that?
Friends of theirs?
Wait a
maybe?
second. Didn't Lisa get a call
Anyway.
about her yard needing to be mowed, and that what started the whole thing?
No. The call was not for that.
Okay.
Yes, please let Connie explain that, because it's gotten twisted.
Okay.
No, Connie, I know why it was done, but still,
Well, let her answer then, please.
The Carter's yard has always been kept up, and it hadn't been moved. Hadn't seen them in a while. I was concerned. Is everybody all right? Are you selling? Is something wrong? And I emailed her as a neighbor because she gave me her email. It was done here, so I did have Connie call a town clerk, but I did it as a neighbor. Are you guys okay? You know, nothing's been done to the yard. Are you guys all right? I said, we're having a real problem with snakes, because I was envisioning all these snakes getting in underneath that trailer and them coming home to a mess. Well, not home, because it's in their home. That's what I did. I was trying to be a neighbor. I wasn't trying to be a town clerk, and I wasn't complaining. I was thinking about them.
Well, now the subject's been brought up about the town needing to be cleaned up. So my question is, what's going to be done about it? If there's an ordinance that says the town, you're supposed to mow your yard or whatever. I mean, our town looks like ghetto. It's trashy and it's scuzzy. No one's ever going to want to move here because it looks like ghetto. So what can be done about it? If there's an ordinance, who enforces it?
Here's some things that can be done about it. Number one, Charlene, you got to get over your personal hurt feelings because your dad is the problem. If it was anybody else in the position and they had done the same thing to us, I'd be fighting them as well in court. So get past your personal feelings. Number two, you should be proud that somebody has taken up the baton from you and is actually trying to make Otter Creek a better place for people. Number three, join the cause. Come on. You started this, Charlene. You're on the wrong side right now. Come on over. We have candy. We'll give you some. And we'll probably... George, what else? What else? What else?
Fresh farm eggs.
We have fresh farm eggs, Charlene. How you going to beat that? Okay. All joking aside, Otter Creek has a worldwide following now. They're watching, and they want to help. These individuals have helped around the world, and they can help locally in Otter Creek. But we're not in Otter Creek right now. Minor detail. Minor detail. We're in the she shed right now. But they're willing to help. You've seen people as far as, let's see, we've had limb walkers come out, do major cleanup, right, George? We've had the tree shop come out, do major cleanup. I mean, guys, it's as easy as this. If Otter Creek, the town, the people come to me and say, hey, Jeremy, we really could use help with this. We have thousands upon thousands of friends that are willing to come into Otter Creek and help the people and help clean it up. We're trying to actually not make it a ghetto. Look at the differences in the properties that we have purchased, the befores and the afters.
like your daddy said, he ain't gonna have nobody tell him to mow his yard. So there you go.
I'll take care of my dad mowing his yard. But I
No offense, Charlene, but all I hear is a bunch of clucking. Just a bunch of clucking. That's it. Because, number one, your dad lost his yard. Somebody else had to get it and clean it up. And now somebody else has got to keep your dad on the reins and in control. And I don't know if somebody made too much fun of him when he worked out at Crystal River Nuclear Power Plant, which I'm sure that happened. But there's something way off about that man.
want to know about the rest of the town council and what can be done about it.
An ordinance like that.
But I do wish your
Still don't have an answer.
It's not even the mowing, it's the trash.
In the junk and
The
everything
trash.
else.
Junk.
In addition to the mowing.
Right
but-
now, I think you ought to move on. Does it look much different than it ever has? I've been
Yes.
there 30 years.
Yes, it does. It looks much different than it
Much
has.
different, no, it don't.
People used to mow their yards and didn't live the way they live now.
Russell's response to his own daughter's complaints. This is the way it's always been. Okay, let's think through history. If that's the way it's always been, should we go back to bloodletting? You remember that? You know, that huge doctoral thing where you got sick and they would just cut and release all your blood from you. That did real good, right? Wait, no. People died. Oh, remember when women didn't have voting rights? Should we do that too, Russell? Because word is around town you like to take advantage of them. Should we go back to when women had no voting rights? When they had no rights whatsoever? George, would you be okay with that?
No way.
George says no way. Okay, let's not go back to that because it was always done that way. I know we're in the South, and I hate to bring it up, but slavery, should we go back to that? And I'm sure Russell's answer is yes, but I have a feeling the people on the other side of that would say Hale's no, and we'd be right there with them. Absolutely not. The reality is this. There is very few things in life that should always be just because they always were. There's one constant, right? God. That's the constant. Other than that, if we're not growing, we're dead. That's the way it is for everything. It's the way for people. It's the way for nature. If we're not growing, we're dead.
Paul Horner was here. Otter Creek was the best place you could live in. But Russ laughed.
So I still didn't get an answer about.
But people cared then.
Yeah.
Maybe you did that dead horse to death. Can we get off of it? So.
But I still don't have an answer about who enforces the town ordinance. Or just in general, not about mowing the yard. Any of the town ordinances.
Here, 'cause you don't have no law.
Who enforces the town ordinance? So what's the point of having town ordinances if they're not going to be enforced?
Exactly, Charlene. What's the point of your dad wanting to be mayor? Oh, so nobody else can get in there and try and enforce anything because the enforcement falls on the town council. The town council can enforce. They can put liens on homes. They can impose fines, and if the fines aren't paid, they can put liens on homes. But to do that, you got to pay a lawyer. Now, right now, the town of Otter Creek is going to be paying out the yin-yang for a lawyer. Why? Because your mayor said this. What your dad should be asking right now, Charlene, is who enforces when the enforcers don't enforce? And that answer is the legal system. Yeah, I'm suing your dad as well for not doing the enforcement of the ordinances. Not only is your father one of the most incompetent, unintelligent individuals and biggest creep I've ever met in my life, he's going to have more lawsuits than he's ever seen in his life.
That's the same problem we had with the dogs. Nobody enforced that. It didn't even pay to have it on.
Then what's the point of a town council? I mean, no offense, I'm just curious.
Cooperate.
If you're not going to enforce ordinances, then what are you here
You want
for?
code enforcement like Gainesville or the villages?
If that cleans up our town and keeps us from getting dog bit, then I would be fine with it.
Again, Charlene, you and I agree. Throwing your own dad under the bus here. Exhibit A. You and I are exactly alike. Well, you know what? Honestly, we're nothing alike. But we agree on this issue. Completely, totally, wholly. There is no point for a town council if they're not going to do what they are actually elected to do.
I think just make a nice little notation possibly on the water bills, like, you know, hey, it's clean up Otter Creek week or something.
Hey, don't let your dogs attack people.
Well, what we gonna have another clean up while we get the road up yonder?
I'll try to Earth Day, but
You know, we done the whole road up yonder Earth Day.
yeah, that's when
And never picked out trash out of the roads and
I
everything
went
else.
back there and dumped all kinds of goodies on it again.
Because
It's
Ghetto.
just the dumping place for animal carcasses in
it's
town.
town.
I think we're pretty cold for that. It's just everywhere like that.
Right at one time, remember, we had a dump, town had a dump, all the garbage off.
Yeah, remember? Right up there by the water plant.
And we also
No, this is
tried,
way before that.
Almost had garbage pickup at one
we also
point, as I
tried
recall.
garbage pickup.
No, I thought they
Something happened there.
voted that down,
It
garbage
got voted
pickup.
down.
Yeah,
Yeah, nobody wanted it. It
yeah.
was a good idea.
Because I was the only person that stood up
So nobody
in the
else-
audience and said I wanted town
Okay,
garbage
yeah.
pickup.
Pay $35 a month to have the garbage picked up, it doesn't take it off down there and throw it out by the road.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, now listen, that ain't only the people in Otter Creek that do that.
I know, there were people from everywhere.
Uh,
Stuff there. Hundreds.
Especially this time of the year.
Yeah.
Not to give hunters a black eye, they probably got a lot to do with it.
We will revisit the city ordinance on upkeep of yards and see what we can do about reworking it into something enforceable.
But if there's no one to enforce it, is there a point to doing that?
What can we do?
And do the code enforcement board, so we can hire Levy County to.
We're not having the county.
Come in if
Right, we have the volunteers in place. We would also need to hire an administrative official who would be the one to issue the code enforcement.
Let me invite you to the What the Hales team, Charlene. We stand on the same platform. We think the same way. We want the same things. Charlene, it's time for you to get away from the dark side.